youth that come out of colleges and training institutions. Therefore, how then would we realize an economic growth of 7% and above? It is important to note that that cannot be realized unless we still invest in infrastructure in this country. And the infrastructure that I'm talking about begins with roads. The roads that in this country, the roads leading to some of our major trading partner states are not in a state that would help spur and maintain economic growth and trajectory that we want. Take, for example, the road leading us to Uganda, which is a major trading partner for Kenya. It is in a terrible state. The road leading to Tanzania, Nairobi-Namanga Road, is not in a good condition in terms of traffic flow. But apart from that, we have other roads. Just coming here was a nightmare for me. I left State House to reach here. I took over 30 minutes. I was taking 30 minutes and I have a lead car. Assuming I didn't have the lead car to misbehave on the road. Because what I've done to reach here was just basically misbehaving. Moving on the wrong side of driving on the wrong side of the road. How many of you have that privilege to misbehave? None. Is that not true? And that cannot help our economy to grow. Thika Road, which used to be a fantastic road, is now not in the state that we would want to be proud of. Therefore, the road sector needs to be looked into. Let me summarize quickly. The other sector that we must address is energy sector. You cannot attract direct foreign investment into your economy if your energy supply is not reliable and is costly. So reliability and cost effectiveness of the energy sector, of the energy prices, is very critical for any economic progress. But we don't have that advantage at the moment. We must address that. The third area is the area of irrigation and food sufficiency. You cannot continue to rely on rain-fed agriculture and expect to be sufficient in food production. You cannot. You must look for ways of ensuring irrigated agriculture. And I will give you an example. We have a project that is running, and I'm sure you have read about it. If you have not been to Galana Kulalu, you must have read about it. You will hear about it. Galana Kulalu is a project that personally I'm very proud of. But you can only be able to put 10,000 acres under irrigation with the current arrangement. For us to move a step further, we need to do a dam to be able to irrigate at least 200,000 acres of land, and that is achievable. Right now, by the end of this year, we will have irrigated about 5,200. Each acre produces 35 bags of maize. We are now harvesting on 1,500 acres. That is already under irrigation. Each acre, 35 bags. Twice a year, 70 bags. Times 200,000, you can produce 14 million bags of maize from Galana Kulalu. What is our maize deficit in this country? Is averaging 10 to 15 million. Therefore, Galana Kulalu alone, if we were to do that dam, it is possible to fill the deficit that we have for maize in this country. And by the way, if we do not address the issue of food sufficiency, that we are still going to import food into this country, where we spend 500 billion Kenya shillings every year, we are going to affect our forex reserves, and we are going to spend taxpayers' money on that. Therefore, we must do more dams to irrigate our farms, and we have fertile land to produce enough for ourselves. We can produce sugar. Already in a Bora scheme, we are putting 50,000 acres into irrigated agriculture for sugar production. Let me now explain why I'm giving you all these statistics, including our airport. This airport must be done. My friends, I know you people don't travel a lot. That I am very sure. But some of you travel. If you travel, you will agree with me that our airport is a shame for an economy like Kenya. We are being outperformed by Ethiopia, Rwanda. Rwanda is a very tiny economy. Kenya is the biggest economy East and Central Africa now. We have overtaken Ethiopia. Ethiopia used to be the largest economy. Kenya is now the largest economy. We are number 6 in Africa. We are a big economy. You can only compare us to South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Algeria. Those are the economies you compare Kenya with. Not these small economies like Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda. These are our juniors. And therefore, if you go to these countries and you find the airport is well developed. I was in Angola. I felt ashamed. They have a fantastic airport. Only that their efficiency is very low, rock bottom. So you take too much time to be cleared. If you give that airport to Kenyans who are very fast in the way they do things with the efficiency we have, Kenya would attract more and more tourists, attract more business people coming here. So why I was raising all this is that we must think outside the box. Because really, for us to do these infrastructure projects, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot do them with your taxes. It is impossible. Because already we are taking taxes from you, and 50%, 48 to 50% is going towards debt repayment, debt service cost. We cannot borrow more either to do these projects. So therefore, we must think outside the box, productively, creatively, and come with other more innovative ways of funding this infrastructure project. Hence the need for a country like Kenya. It is long overdue. We are late to start National Infrastructure Fund. And I know the president will soon pronounce himself, maybe the day after tomorrow. We are forming a company. We created, I'm hearing people are saying we don't have a legal framework. People have not read that government-owned enterprises law, which was assented to a few days ago, is very elaborate on how to form such companies with the business and commercial mind. We are going to form a company that is going to be professionally run. We are not going to populate it with political rejects and other kinds of people who have no professional background to work in this company. We need serious people. Unfortunately, I am going to be the single shareholder of that company for the time being, until now we get real experts, professionals to run that company. And this company will help us in crowding in private sector funding. I wish I had time, I would have demonstrated you how that model would work. But let me not spend and take much of your time. We will still engage when I get to the regions. You will ask me questions about this National Infrastructure Fund. And with it, we are also forming sovereign wealth fund. Because you cannot be a country which spends everything with the current generation. You must leave something for future generation. And we must create a fund for future generation, a fund that you don't dip your fingers in to finance your budget. That fund must be ring-fenced for the future generation. You can only reinvest it in projects that will give returns in a long period of time for our grandchildren to be able to enjoy the fruits of some of the things that we are doing today. Now, we are starting a process. I've moved to the next stage. We are in the process of starting to prepare the finance bill for 2026. And your input is very important, very necessary, especially those of you who are coming from business school, those who are doing economics, accounting, finance, and general business classes. You can input into the finance bill. Sometimes people imagine that finance bill is a monster. And I think it's a tradition, history. We thought finance bill is a monster prepared at the National Treasury 14th floor, and it is guided. And you know, the ministers then used to be very funny, actually, I would say. They used to be very dramatic. With that briefcase, everybody is waiting In fact, people were not even selling commodities because they were anticipating price hikes. So if an announcement is made to raise prices, the following day the new prices kick in. If prices are lowered, then they have to clear the stock. It takes some time. Some of us have gone through that. But now things have changed. It is different. Public participation. We release a schedule for you to bring your input. This is the time. Speak to us. Tell us areas where you want some cuts to be made, and then tell us where you think we can also raise taxes, if at all there is. But Kenyans are presently complaining of being overtaxed. I don't think we have any option or leverage or latitude to raise taxes. If anything, we are looking for ways of now lowering the tax rates. And this, by the way, is a legal requirement that every year we must have a finance bill. We need your input, and we will engage you further on this. Now, I am done, but before I'm done with economic matters, because I want to end economic matters and then come to matters which probably touch on you and the politics, before I go to the plenary. You know, people are saying, the naysayers, they are telling us that there is nothing we have done. But I will tell you for a fact that things were not easy. Things were not very good. I will tell you, even as late as when I went to the Treasury last year, we could pay salaries up to 15th of the month for the previous month. Even paying loans, we were not sure. Remember last year, those of you who monitored, the shilling depreciated to the dollar up to almost 160, up to above 160 to the dollar. Didn't you see that? That was because up to February, there was a Eurobond loan that was coming up for payment by June as a bullet payment. I hope you understand what a bullet payment means. One-off payment. $2 billion is about 260 billion shillings. Was coming up for payment by June, and by February, the government did not have a plan on how to retire that debt. That is why, if you went to the banks to buy dollar, you couldn't get. That is where we had reached. It was terrible. Fortunately, that liability was managed, and that is why we became proactive this year, and we decided in February and March to liability manage a Eurobond that was coming in 2027. We paid 60% of it to give us that space and at least some breathing space. We went even a step further to be more proactive, to be more responsible, and we managed to pay the Eurobond of 2028. So now between now and 2031, we don't have any pressure in terms of paying our commercial debts. That has at least given us the latitude and the leverage to stabilize the shilling. Those who are asking why is the shilling stable, I am telling them the shilling is stable because the demand on the dollar is low.